Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. Today we have a triple whammy of topics and we're going to begin with Ahsoka Season 2. Rosario Dawson and Hayden Christensen sat down and were asked if we're going to see more of their dynamic in the second season, Anakin's Force Ghost and Ahsoka interacting on Peridia. Ahsoka Tano, Sabine Wren, Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati still stuck there, and after what happened in the World Between Worlds, Anakin's Force Ghost appears to Ahsoka at the end. There is a Mortis connection, a spiritual undertone that Dave has teased, and so Hayden Christensen was asked, are we going to see more Anakin in the second season? And cryptically said this: look, as to whether or not we see Anakin again, I don't know, but as evidenced by the last shot of the series, he's with her in spirit, and they continue to have this connection. And this is very much the route I hope they go, whether Anakin is the new father, or whether he is just a mentor to Ahsoka on her journey. He might be what Obi-Wan was to Luke, and he's going to guide Ahsoka when she needs it. And Rosario teases, the road for Ahsoka in Season 2 is not going to be easy, so hopefully Dave Filoni wills it, and there is more interaction between the two. Really awesome stuff. And so now my dear friends, we once again have some major reveals for the Acolyte. A new teaser has just emerged, Awake, where for the very first time we hear the masked Sith, and he says the Jedi live in a dream, but an Acolyte kills the dream. And at the end of the teaser, Osha, the good twin, faces the master of her sister. It was mentioned in a recent press release that Osha is impersonating May for a good portion of the show, so that makes sense, the entire mix-up, and she is going to come face to face with a Sith. It is a very intriguing yet different look at the series, and they really leaned into the horror inspiration for it. But this isn't the only thing I really wanted to highlight, because hidden in the middle of a very long interview with the cast of the show, the series creator Leslye Headland has teased some pretty huge and shocking reveals, notably in the back end of Season 1, to be more specific, episodes 5 to 8, and keep in mind screeners sent out to reviewers were only for the first 4. She mentions how apart from Venestra Rowe's light whip, they've designed a new and crazy type of lightsaber that we can't imagine. A Star Wars first that was so insane, when she first brought up the idea to the props department, they basically told her no, it's impossible to make. But she clarifies they were able to pull through, and she was adamant and insistent it needed to be in the series, and it was. And just to clarify once again, it is not the lightsaber whip. This is something brand new to Star Wars canon. It's pretty exciting, and brings up the question of how overboard did they go, and should they do this? Should they keep pushing the envelope of our understanding of the way lightsabers work, and the types of lightsabers Jedi and Sith had 100 years before the Phantom Menace? Is it a crazy kind of crossguard? Is it a triple or quadruple blade? Is it a live-action version of some things we've seen in Star Wars Visions? Does it have some insane accessories and a hilt that is completely wild? Well, she says, we're gonna have to wait until episodes 5 to 8 for that. And she also mentions puppetry, inspired by the kind we've seen in the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. We know the series is full of aliens, new and familiar, but what she is promising the fandom is one of the most creative and daring projects. She says with confidence, she is not afraid to push the limits. There are going to be a lot of creative choices we're going to be debating and discussing in depth. The only hint she's willing to give us, and something which Amanda Stenberg doubles down on, is the influence of the Darth Maul fight in The Phantom Menace with Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan. So that is definitely something to look forward to. She says, quote, they're fast-paced and they're gnarly. The combat is so enticing and immersive. And how are Star Wars fans going to react to that? She did say, I'm inspired by Star Wars Legends, and the expanded universe is definitely full of crazy, a lot of good crazy, but can it work on the small screen? Well, as I said before, with the budget, you'd hope so. Leslye says so much emphasis was put on the lightsabers and she is sticking by that. There's also this awesome Endor-like speeder sequence, and another major reveal you may not have caught is that Yord Vandar, the Jedi Knight played by Charlie Barnett, is from Alderaan in universe. Just like Claire Organa and Cara Dune, they do tease a lot of deep lore, some which is important to the show, some which isn't, and I just thought, that's a very neat tidbit. So moving on my dear friends, The Mandalorian. We're 2 years out from The Mandalorian and Grogu, and we do have some pretty exciting news. Pedro Pascal might be back as helmetless Din. When it came to The Mandalorian Season 3, we knew Din Djarin was not going to reveal his face. The majority of the plot and his story in the third season was redeeming himself in the living waters, and he did. And now the question of, is the tribe as strict now that they've reunited on Mandalore? And I've always said, if you market the Mandalorian and Grogu with Pedro Pascal's face, and not just Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder in the suit, you might have a higher box office. If he is guaranteed to be in the film, without his helmet, I think that could do wonders for fan anticipation, hype, and getting fans in those seats. Well, some new comments have sparked speculation that Pedro Pascal is filming on the new movie which starts production very soon. He was pictured days ago with his hairstylist and friend, Mira Hyde, who often shares pictures with the Mando actor. But a comment left by Instagram user The Hair Department, who is Maria Sandoval, who worked on Mando and Boba Fett, has made fans speculate that Pascal is going to return in the movie. She says, quote, "I'll see you both soon." This sent fans into a tizzy, but it may or may not confirm that she's going to meet Pedro for a return in The Mandalorian and Grogu. So is Pedro Pascal ready to return not just as the voice, but on set with his helmet off as Din Djarin? The new post seems to imply it might be a priority for him. At the end of the day, if there's anything Pedro is going to prioritize, it's the first Mandalorian big screen outing. How incredible would that be? I would love to see him with his helmet off. He adds more depth and humanity to the character when he's there. And I'll never forget Season 2, Chapter 15 with Bill Burr, and then Chapter 16 when he says goodbye to Grogu, and even though it's temporary, hands him off to Luke. Can you believe that was nearly 4 years ago? And staying on the subject of Mando, Star Wars confirms the future is here and it's Mandalorian. Disney have recently featured it prominently in a new trailer and have stated it is one of the most watched TV series in the entire world. They shared a new sizzle reel highlighting how the company goes, quote, beyond storytelling, and how the connective tissue approach is on full display at Disney theme parks, on their cruise line, and of course on Disney+. They have big plans for Din Djarin and Grogu, and the movie is 2 years away. I got to ask Diana Lee Inosanto, who played Morgan Elsbeth in Season 2, and Ahsoka, how she's feeling about the upcoming movie, despite her character being dead.
I'm really excited and curious how this is going to work, because have we ever seen this? I don't think we not too often do we see it start from a streaming show. I mean, I know there's been more serious dramas that we've seen in the past, but to see something as rich and amazing as Star Wars and how they're going to expand that from the small screen to the big screen, I'm excited, and I have great hope that people are going to be pretty satisfied with what they're going to get. And it's amazing, no matter where I travel in the world, the commitment to the Mandalorian storyline, and people love it. It's interesting. Sometimes I find that people still are very fascinated just with my appearance in Mandalorian, and they'll talk about it sometimes more than even Ahsoka. There's just something beautiful what that Mandalorian started in the imagination of so many people. And where would we be? I mean, Mandalorian showed us the way that it showed us the way that it could create and spawn all these other great shows. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I know John is at the helm, from what I understand. So I expect great things from it.
Did you get to hold Grogu?
No, I wanted to so much. I could see, like, in my scenes with Brendan Wayne, because Brendan's on, even though I read with Pedro, when it came to filming, I was with Brendan Wayne. So he would have a little baby Grogu. But no, I didn't get to hold him. I was too busy, trying to be Morgan. And I asked Dave, like, well, what am I supposed to think about Grogu, or, Baby Yoda? He goes, you're just looking at him as though he's like a parrot. I'm like, really?